Robinhood UK have now released their UK ISAs. I want to go through it with you today and show you exactly what it's all about. But first off, a little bit about me. So about 18 months ago, I knew absolutely nothing about investing. I had a pension that after 10 years of employer contributions had somehow managed to rack up about £4,500. £4,500 in 10 years, I understand and I now know is not great. I've been running my company since 2009. I started it right in the middle of the recession, so for most of those years I was heads down, long days, doing what needed doing to keep the business alive and more importantly growing. The pension to me has always been just a tick box exercise. If I'm honest, something to keep the RC off my back. It was required, but it's always been a pain in the arse. And the finances, I just handed all of that over to my accountant and bookkeeper and I got on with my job. I'd spent 15 odd years building something profitable, building a reputation, building a brand people trusted. But I'd never really looked under the bonnet of it financially, not properly anyway. Then gradually over time, I got the right people around me, people that I could trust to run it day to day without me being there, to actually having time to think. Everything changes. I started looking at the business a lot differently. I was looking at margins, labour times, where the money was actually going, and that just kept going. One thing led to another and I found myself deep in tax efficiency, employer contributions, ISAs, SIPs, stuff like that. Stuff that I'd never had the headspace for before. I was 35 and I felt like I'd just discovered this whole new world that had been there waiting. Quick disclaimer before I get into it, I just want to say up front, I am not a financial advisor. I'm a guy who runs a company, sharing his own journey and opinions. This isn't financial advice, so always do your own research. I spent about 12 months options trading first, learning the craft before I realised tax wrapper accounts were an absolute must. I opened my first ever ISA on Robinhood of all places. I started building my SIP on AJ Bell properly, paying into it direct from the business before corporation tax is touched. I also put my own money in as often as I can, so when I see a dip, I like to pounce. Options premiums, personal contributions, it all goes in there. The way I approach it now is basically a two-weapon strategy. I've got my SIP, which is for my passive fund accounts. That's where the boring, reliable stuff goes. I'm invested in the VWRP and the NDAQ, which is the Nasdaq. It's just sitting there doing its thing in the background. It's a set and forget. But my ISA, that's my growth engine. That's where I can put my own due diligence to the test. I can back my own thesis and actually stay engaged in the financial markets on a day-to-day basis, if I want to. This then goes on to discovering the companies that you want to invest in. Somewhere in the middle of building that growth engine, I came across Zeta Global. It was trending on X, I started digging into it and I just loved what I was seeing. The way I look at Zeta, they've built this enormous database of people, real data with real behaviors. They know that Jack likes McDonald's, not KFC. And they can take that information, sell it to other businesses who want to reach Jack, pinpoint exactly how to advertise to him, when, where, and what with. In a world where everyone's worried about AI killing everything, my personal thesis is that Zeta are the ones selling the picks and shovels. Now, obviously in the stock market, anything can happen and there are zero guarantees. But my opinion is that their business model makes them as close to AI proof as you can get. That's what my conviction is built in Zeta. After their last earnings, I decided to go all out. The analyst ratings, the growth, the future roadmap, it all just looks fantastic. And now Zeta sits right in the heart of everything that I'm building. So in this video, I want to walk you through the full picture. The ISA, why I chose Robinhood, and what it actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. And if you want to know more about how I fund the ISA through options trading specifically, I've got a full video which I will link down in the description. Why Robinhood? So when Robinhood finally launched their UK ISA and threw in a 2% cash bonus on new contributions on top of that, honestly for me it was a no-brainer. That's the platform that I'd been watching from the sidelines for years, finally available with a tax wrapper attached and money back on top. I was in immediately at this point because if you spent any time watching US investment content on YouTube, and I spent a lot of time doing exactly that when I was learning, Robinhood was absolutely everywhere. Every creator, every mentor I was following was using it. And for the longest time, us Brits, we had to sit and watch on the sidelines because it was basically a pipe dream. It wasn't available to us. And then they launched in the UK. And then came the ISA. The app itself is stunning. The UI is just clean, simple, everything you'd expect it to be. Zero commission on trades, zero platform fees, and minimal FX fees of 0.10%. Just worth noting that that's there. And then there's Robinhood Legend, which I don't think enough people talk about. This isn't just a mobile app. There's a full desktop platform, proper charting, positions, analysis, options trading. It's genuinely impressive and most people don't even realize that it's there. And it's free. The first thing I do every morning before I get out of bed, if I'm honest, I'll check my Robinhood widget on the iPhone. It tracks the stocks 24/5, so I can get up straight away. Whether we're green or red overnight, I can tell.
Good morning is green, bad morning is red. Pretty straightforward, right? It sets the tone and tells me if there's anything I need to be looking at a little bit more closely.
There's one thing that catches people out. If you want to move money from your general investing account across to your ISA,
this has to be done in GBP. So if you're sitting in dollars in your general investing account,
you will have to convert it first to switch it across, which obviously incurs the small 0.10% FX fee. It's small, but worth noting.
So in my opinion, who is the Robinhood platform for? Now, I want to be straight with you about what this ISA is, what it isn't, because I think some people are going to come to Robinhood
expecting it to do everything, and it doesn't. Not yet anyway. If VWRP and VUAG are your thing, if you just want to set and forget into a global index fund, this probably isn't the platform for you right now. The London Stock Exchange listed ETFs aren't available here yet, and that is a genuine limitation. I won't pretend otherwise. Like I said, for that I use AJ Bell for my SIP. But if you're a stock picker, if you want to build your own portfolio, pick your own companies, do your own research and back your own convictions, this is absolutely the right platform for you. Around 5,000 US listed stocks, zero commission, one of the best interfaces ever used.
I think of my ISA as my own personal fund. You get a £20,000 allowance every single tax year, and I use it to pick the companies I believe in and let them run inside a tax wrapper where every single penny of growth is completely sheltered from capital gains tax forever. And look, Robinhood moves fast. Vlad likes to innovate. SIPs, ETFs, I'd be genuinely surprised if they're not coming anytime soon. So if you're on the fence, it's worth keeping an eye on at least. Now, for the next part, I want to talk about how I find and buy my stocks in the ISA. So how do I actually find them and buy them? My process is pretty straightforward. I research daily. X is a big source for me. That's where I find out about Zeta. I use tip ranks for analyst ratings and stock sentiment, and I use a platform called Fiscal AI alongside that. Between those two, I get a pretty clear picture of where a stock will sit and how people who cover it professionally are feeling about it. When I've got conviction in that company, I'll use Robinhood Legend or TradingView to identify my support zones, the price levels where historically the stock has found a floor. When it drops into those zones, I will pounce. That's my dip buying strategy in a nutshell. So I won't pretend I get it right every single time. The M&R is sitting on my watch list, and I believe in the story, but the timing was off. I got caught out with this one, as I'm sure many did. But you learn from it, you move on. You don't let one bad trade shake your whole strategy and thesis. If someone watching this is worried about stock picking being too risky, I'd say do your due diligence, understand where the company has been, and understand where it's going. I'm not just buying tickers because someone on the internet told me to. I'm reading earnings reports, I'm looking at growth trajectories, checking analyst consensus. It takes time, but that's the point. I think UK investors are getting better at this. Younger investors especially are really open to stock picking. The older generation are coming around to it, but there's still this idea that you just bung money in an index fund and forget about it. And while that is not wrong, like I do with my SIP, it's not the only way to manage your wealth. The Robinhood platform. So what am I actually holding in here? I'll show you the full portfolio on screen now. Zeta Global, SoFi Technologies and Ondas are all sitting inside the ISA, all completely sheltered. Zeta, you'll see, is my biggest conviction play, and it sits across multiple accounts for me, not just in the ISA. I've done a full deep dive video on exactly why I'm so bullish, and that will also be linked down in the description below. So I won't go too deep on it here, but the short version is I came across it on X about 5 months ago. I did my research, and after their last earnings, I just went all out. The data moat, the AI angle, the analyst ratings, it all stacks up and just makes sense to me. And every penny of the upside sits inside this ISA account, completely sheltered. As you'll see, the Robinhood setup is virtually identical to what you might well have seen on the US version, except we have got two options. We have the investing option, which will be your general investment account, and we have the stocks and shares ISA account, which you will see out here. It's quite easy to use. We can switch here. We've got an option to use a switch between GBP and USD. Your stocks that you hold will be up here, and you will have your list of other stocks that you're potentially looking at, or your watch list rather, will be down below it on the right hand side. If we scroll down, you can see that it will track your pension contributions just below here, so you get to see. I started this ISA in January, so I don't think I'm going to quite manage to get this one filled up this year, but yeah, next year we will certainly be getting that sorted. What we can also do it gives, as I said, as you see, it gives you a real nice breakdown. You can check your
you can track your portfolio through multiple different time periods if you wish. What we can also do is, if we pick, I don't know, let's pick a random stock. If we go into BMNR, you'll see it will ping up with a live overview. What we can do here is we can scroll down and it will give you lots of other information. When you buy these stocks, it will give you your average cost basis and stuff in here as well, so you'll get to see that. You can scroll down, you've got news, information about the company. You can see on a day-to-day basis whether it's been a bullish or a bearish day for that particular company. All in all, it's just an easy platform to use. It's very self-explanatory, everything's there. You can even jump onto the legend chart, so we've got full access to this. And remember guys, this is all free as well. They do not charge you for this. So you've got your watch list down the left hand side, and you've got all of your charting tools. You can use the any of the indicators. You can put as many on there as you want. It is completely free. So where TradingView will charge you for this, Robinhood Legend gives you this completely free, which is well worth having. Back to the ISA account, how this works. So if we click into Zeta here, you will be able to see a little bit more information about what you've bought, what you own. So if we scroll down, for instance, you'll be able to see the full market value of what you've got, your total return on the position since you've opened it, and here, most importantly, the average cost basis for the amount of shares that you own. You can scroll down, it gives you a little bit more information and key statistics about that position again, related articles, and again it gives you the prompt to explore Robinhood Legend. So all in all, it's exactly like what we will have seen on the YouTube videos from the US guys, just a little bit more basic at the moment. But as I've said, Vlad and Robinhood being as innovative as they are as a company, I'm sure it won't be long before that gets added into the UK version. So to close this out, that's my Robinhood UK ISA. The platform the Americans made famous on YouTube has finally landed properly here in the UK. And for a stock picker like me, it's brilliant. If this kind of content is your thing, portfolio updates, stock deep dives, my investing journey as it happens, hit subscribe and come and find me on X at OptionsBrit. Again, it will be linked in the description below. That's where I'm most active on a day-to-day basis and where I post regular market updates and stock content for you guys. And if you made it to the end, thank you genuinely for your time. I'll leave you with this. Here at OptionsBrit, we like to learn the how so we can afford the why. Links for everything will be down below, guys. Until next time, bye-bye for now.